Now, Pavarotti was a good friend.
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti, and I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. As a disclaimer, this channel's for entertainment purposes. These are my opinions, and I'm not here to slander anyone, so let's get started. Today's episode, I just want to touch on a subject that I feel like needs to be touched on. And by the way, I've been a little out of the loop this week. I'm in my busy season at work and putting in some pretty long and hard days. So finding time to research and make videos is becoming a challenge. Probably will be for the next couple of months. So if you don't see me quite as often, that's why. I'm hard at work. But ever since the trial the other day, when Ann Taylor mentioned something, it's been stirring in my head, and I've been wanting to get this out there. But then again, on the way back from the job site, I watched a video that Julez of the Trades did today, and I figured, heck, I'll just do this as a reaction video instead of just a pointed video. But in the trial, let's back up just a second. We have heard from people who wish Kohberger to be guilty many, many times. Why doesn't Kohberger scream from the rooftops? It's always the rooftops, never from anything other than the rooftop. But why doesn't he scream from the rooftop that he's innocent? Why does he just sit there and be quiet? And then we've also heard, why doesn't Kohberger's family scream from the rooftop that he's innocent? And it seems like that they're not willing to support him. And Howard Bloom's book says that, Kohberger's family thinks that he's guilty and they're staying away from it. And his sister turned him in. And even Howard Bloom in his interview says, if Kohberger was innocent, why didn't he scream from the rooftops? I mean, we've all heard all this stuff. And the fact is, we all know that any good defense attorney, when they get with their client, they tell their client and their families to just shut their mouths. Don't say a word. Don't say a word to anybody. Especially don't say a word to any other of those inmates in that jail or, the officers in that jail, I'm sure. But they also tell their family, don't talk to media. Just don't make any statements at all. Stay silent. And it's very important to stay silent. I mean, anytime anybody's ever been read their rights, I hope they've listened to it, or anybody that we ever hear somebody get their rights read on TV or, maybe a true crime show. What's the first thing that they say? They say, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford one will be appointed to you. Do you understand these rights? They have to say that because anything that you say can and will be used against you. Those rights don't say anything you say can and will be used for you. And they don't say that for a reason. So whenever we look at Kohberger, he has been educated by his lawyer and he's not stupid. He's keeping his mouth shut because that's what he was told to do. And his family is keeping their mouth shut as well because that's what they were told to do. However, the only mouthpiece that Bryan Kohberger has is his attorneys. And folks, they've been screaming from the rooftop for some time now that Bryan Kohberger is innocent. We've all seen in the courtroom where Ann Taylor has said on 2 different occasions, Your Honor, Bryan Kohberger is innocent. That is her way of screaming from the rooftops. We've heard his other attorney, Miss Massett, say the same thing. Your Honor, Bryan Kohberger is innocent. They're doing that. That is their version, their way of screaming from the rooftops. Now, when we watched this hearing the other day on change of venue, Ann Taylor made some statements. One of those statements was, the media coverage out there certainly is not giving Bryan Kohberger the presumption of innocence. That's, again, her way of screaming from the rooftops. Bryan Kohberger is innocent. But she also said things we don't know about Bryan Kohberger is the fact that his family loves him very much. Folks, that is her way of screaming from the rooftops that Bryan Kohberger's family loves him and supports him in this. So all those people out there that talk about why wouldn't he scream from the rooftops, listen to his attorney. She's screaming from the rooftops for him. Now, the other thing that she mentioned was the fact that Bryan Kohberger said he has a dog that he loves and helps trains. Now, when I heard that, I was like, okay, well, this is another way for her to humanize Bryan. Because anybody that loves and trains a dog, they would have to be a different kind of person that people, anytime we've ever heard, think about this for just a second. Bryan Kohberger loves and has helped train the dog. What have we heard about serial unalivers? Because that's what everybody's claiming that he is in this case. What is the warning signs for serial unalivers, y'all? We all have heard them. What do they do to animals when they're kids? Serial unalivers almost always torture and hurt animals as kids. They don't get older and get dogs and love them and want to train them. So when I heard her say that, this is what I was taking from it. He doesn't fit the profile of some serial unaliver who's got a dog he loves and helps trains. But then when I watched Julez of the Trades video, that little Julez, she's a smart cookie. She's sharp. She picked up on something else. But before I get into that, let's listen to the quick snippet from that hearing where Ann Taylor talks about this.
A story talking about Bryan Kohberger's right to be presumed innocent. There's not a media story talking about Bryan Kohberger being loved by his family. Nobody's talking about the good grades he achieved all through his undergraduate career and graduate programs. Nobody's talking about the dog that he loves and helps train. The dog.
Okay, now Julez's reaction was, that's a present tense, the way that she said that. Now, she also suggested that was a way for Ann Taylor to get it out there to everybody that, Bryan Kohberger is having interactions with a dog. That's why they found a dog hair in his apartment. Very sharp to pick up on that. But the other thing was that was present tense. That he has a dog that he loves and he helps trains. Not he had a dog that he loved and helped train, but helps trains. So that means, well, my investigative mind kind of kicks in when I heard that, and when I heard her explain it that way. I said, okay, well then there's only three answers to that. Then we got to break them out. The first or three questions. There's only one answer. There's three questions. The first question would be, did she misstate it? Right? He has a dog that he loves and that he helped train. And that would mean maybe a family dog back in Pennsylvania that he loves, and he helped train the dog, before he moved to Washington State. Now that could have been just a misstatement, so that's one possibility. The other possibility is he has a dog that he loves and he helps train. So that means he's possibly got a friend there in Washington that none of us know about that has a dog that Bryan Kohberger spends time with and he helps him train it. And if that's the case, who is this mysterious friend with this mysterious dog? That's somebody that could give real insight. So, if that's the case, how do we figure out who this person is with this dog? Who around Bryan Kohberger has a dog? Something that we ought to look into. And the other possibility, albeit slight, is Bryan Kohberger has a dog that he loves and he helps train, and which means that he's doing it right now. Is there a dog in that sheriff's office, possibly a canine, that these sheriffs that run the jail are allowing Kohberger to spend time with, to the point where they're even allowing him to help them train the dog? That is a possibility based on her statement, because if he's helping train the dog now and he loves the dog now, the only place he could help train a dog is in that county jail. So are they really this afraid of Bryan Kohberger? Is he really just stuck in the cell in the basement and treated like Hannibal Lecter? Or is something else going on there in that jail entirely? Anyway, those are the three questions that come to mind on that statement with the dog now that I watched, Julez of the Trade's reaction video to it. And again, she's a sharp cookie to pick up on that, because I didn't. But one thing I did pick up on was the fact that his lawyer is absolutely screaming from the rooftops that Bryan Kohberger is innocent. And he's a human, and he doesn't fit the characteristics of a serial unaliver, which this case doesn't fit the characteristics of a serial unaliver. And I've got more things on the investigation into this case. I'm going to hold off on putting those out until I get that change of venue ruling that I've been waiting on every single day. But until then, I'm going to touch on a couple of other subjects. I'll put out a video tomorrow on some possible happenings in another case Ann Taylor is dealing with that I'm seeing some things that are weird. And if it's weird in that case, does that mean that it possibly is correlating to this case in some way? I don't know. We're going to find out. And then the other thing is, we're going to get a little bit more into that actual atrocity itself. And I'm going to show you the difference between one person going in and committing the atrocity and multiple people committing the atrocity. And I'm going to show you how one person couldn't have done it. Not the way that they said it happened. But please like and subscribe to the channel. Please post your comments, your thoughts, your criticisms. And I know I'm going to have some haters out there. I'm going to let the haters hate. I'm not even going to get into them. Not worth my time. Until next time, Pavarotti's out.